Demon keeps dreaming of a demon town. Motherfucker, bitch, fuck, shit went down. Fleming's got an itch, scratch it with a bitch. Demon keeps dreaming of a demon town. Ooh, Johnson, that's my name.
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, continuing 2-1 in my Shadows of the Damned Satanic Hell difficulty video walkthrough. And once again we are moving through the lovely demon town, the very start, the inception of the game's campaign. And this is introducing you to the darkness mechanic once more. This is more of a traversal one. It's completely pointless and it happens a few times through the game, but if you're ever in a section like this, never worry, because it's never challenging, there's never really that many enemies. And it's just literally run, collect the hearts, get to the glowing doorway, and you're done. And it's pretty simple. So what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to continue telling you a couple of tricks and a couple of mechanics that you're going to need to know, or you're going to need to be aware of if you play like I play. And the first one is obviously unskippable cutscenes means you can easily get frustrated with this game. The second one is, it's not that easy to restart your checkpoint, I found, on this game, because there doesn't seem to be an option when you pause, and the best way I've done it, you know, if you're having a bad run, or if you accidentally use a tequila or something when you wanted to use a sake, which I do all the time, because when you use a healing item on here, if you press the left bumper, it will shortcut whichever healing item you last used to that key. It will hotkey it. And I accidentally pressed the hotkey when I didn't mean to quite a lot, and I wanted to go back because I like to save up healing items just in case I need them. On this run it didn't really matter because I died in one hit a lot, so it didn't really fucking do no. But it's always nice to have them. So the best way I found if you want to restart from a checkpoint because you're not enjoying it or you found a better strategy and you wasted your ammo and things, if you fire the hot boner into the floor, which is the charged light shot that you get later on in the game, and if you detonate that within the circle when you stood near it, you will die. On Satanic Hell, it's an insta-kill unless you've got big life. I found that out a couple times. You want to be real careful with it. It seems to be kind of fucking stupid. The next mechanic I want to talk about is the weapon upgrades. I do think upgrading the Skull Cushioner is probably your best bet because it is the big damage dealing weapon, and if you ever get into a situation where you don't have the time to do the brutal kills and the light stuns, if you shoot them with that up close, it's an insta-kill. Once again, the aiming is a little fussy, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it will do some serious and considerable damage. And the last real thing on the topic of upgrades is I don't think they have all that much of a relevance towards the bosses. I don't believe upgrading your weapons really makes that much of a difference against the bosses. The reason I say this is when I was fighting the last boss with a 0 upgrade Teether, or the Dentist, which it gets upgraded into, when I was shooting him, it took forever to kill him, and I was like, well, it's probably because I didn't upgrade it. So what I'll do on my guide is I'll upgrade that weapon, so when I get to the boss, it won't take forever. I got to the boss, it still took forever. There was absolutely no difference whatsoever, and it was fully upgraded, so I don't really think there is anything you have to upgrade. I think you can go through the game the way you want to do it, but if you want to follow the strategies I'm going to show you, you want to be upgrading the blue assault rifle weapon and the green shotgun weapon. And I don't actually upgrade this pistol once. My first playthrough of the game, I upgraded it to max. I didn't get anything for it, it didn't feel any better, and it just seemed a useless upgrade. Speaking of useless upgrades, do not upgrade the charge when it comes for the melee hit. If you charge your melee hit, even at level 1, it will still kill most enemies because it's extremely powerful. It's just unnecessary. And I think that's pretty much it for the upgrades. There is something to be said about the life, because when you upgrade your life you do get the ability to stay in darkness longer, but for the purpose of this run I didn't do it, so that's a choice that you can really make yourself. But the next little technique that I would say is look at that, look how weak that pistol is when you first have it. Goodness me, that thing took like 4 shots. A little tip for opening boxes: if you don't want to waste ammo on them, shoot them with the light shot. This is something I came onto very late in the game because I'm a retard, but we all have those silly moments, those senior moments, so I'll let myself off. But the next mechanic is a finicky one, and this is something that anybody that plays action games in a serious manner will know all about, and that is the ability to cancel out of moves to evade. And This game does have that ability, because you'll notice when you aim with a weapon and you're shooting, if you press the roll action, Garcia will dodge out of the animation of shooting and he will roll. And it works pretty much fine with the pistol, and it works pretty much fine with the submachine gun. It does not work well with the shotgun. The shotgun has an input delay when you're using it, and the ones that I've noticed is it's before the skull that you fire is detonated. Anytime before that you can't seem to roll, and if it's going at long distance, it's generally 1 or 2 seconds after you've fired that it enables you to move again. And the reason that I bring this up is during some boss fights, using the shotgun is probably the fastest way to kill them. It's also one of the easiest ways to die, because as soon as you start charging that shotgun, if the boss goes to make an attack and you've just fired, you will not recover in time to do a roll. You can press A all you like. Your character will not do that roll, you will get one shot killed, and it will piss you off. It did it to me so much through this game. And it got to the point where some of my strategies are going to be pretty much telling you not to use the gun against the bosses, because it's too much of a risk, and unless you know the patterns of the enemy, and unless you know what animation means they're going to do what attack, you're just going to get one shot killed when you're halfway through a boss phase, and that could be 10 minutes of gameplay that you've wasted. And there is nothing worse than that frustration that comes from having to watch another unskippable cutscene and do another phase of a boss that isn't hard, he just has a bullshit effect like that. It's disheartening to say the least, so just bear in mind whenever you use the skull cushioner, the green shotgun, there's a delay input and it can get you killed. You'll see me take damage from it and I'll tell you when it happens, but I should really talk about this guy. This guy's not a boss, this guy's the equivalent of a heavy, and he's very easy. All you have to do is shoot his back, and to do that you hit him with a light shot to stun him, then you can shoot his back. And right now I'm using the skull weapon. I don't know what it's called when it's level 1, but it's the skull cushioner at the end. And it's really powerful, but you'll notice it's super nerfed. At the start of this game, your weapons are so piss weak, it's ridiculous, especially this one. This thing has one shell, and it has a really slow reload after that shell. So the first thing you want to do with your upgrades for the gun is upgrade the reload speed. You only have to put 2 into it to make it competent, and then once you've beaten the second iteration of the first boss, you'll be able to upgrade the damage on it, and it will make it a really valuable tool. But this game is actually really short. The reason why it feels long when you play it is because of the cutscenes, as I've mentioned. There's nothing you can do about getting rid of them, and there's a lot of boss fights, and the boss fights, their idea of difficulty is tripling the boss's life, and it just makes them long, it makes them stupid, and it takes away some of the fun. And I'm playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma at this moment in time, and they are games that get difficulty right. You face enemies you didn't even see on normal. You see techniques that you didn't even see on all the difficulties. It is how difficulties are done correctly. And for them to just simply bump up their enemy's life, that is not designing a difficulty, folks. That is just bitching out, and I'm not a fan at all. But keep moving through the streets, keep shattering things, picking up the ammo. This enemy here that's got the hole in the chest, that is the throwaway enemy. They are the weakest one you'll come across. They're generally, you know, not too challenging unless they jump on you, and sometimes the jump can be a little bit bullshit, because depending on how long you spend with this game, it will depend on how much of the bullshit that you see. I'm just going to talk about this guy and I'll come back to that topic. These dudes are the Pyramid Head wannabes, and they will start charging up some red energy and they'll fire a red homing bird at you. The best thing to do is to wait for it to get close and then roll. Be very careful if you stand behind cover and think you're safe. Sometimes the bird will go through the graphics and it'll kill you, or it'll hurt you, and it's a little bit unfair, but that just goes into the topic I was previously mentioning, which is the bullshit of the game. So these guys here to the left, the dude with the horns, he's kind of like the upgraded, slightly faster, slightly more aggressive version of the dude I'm about to kill. That guy there. Oh, a quick tip as well that I've not mentioned that I should have: if you need to reload and you've just hit somebody with the light shot and you're running in to do the execution, you will not get the prompt. It took me a while to figure it out, and I got hit a lot because I was fucking it up, and it's because the game prioritizes reloading over the execution move, so you should always make sure you have full ammo when you're doing those techniques. One really good tip I would say is don't shoot. Don't even bother shooting, because that way you will always, you know, be in the opportunity to do the kill moves. And the light shot does not cost ammo, and it doesn't need you to shoot. It just makes sense. But there's a little puzzle slash combat coming up here, and the basic principle that you'll be using through the game is to shoot those blue orbs. You need to be in darkness, but obviously darkness injures you if you stay in it too long, so it's this balancing act of doing the puzzle and getting out of the darkness as quick as you can. And a few of these early ones are kind of challenging because the game, because you're new to the game and you don't really know what you're supposed to do or all the mechanics. But luckily enough, I got my ass kicked enough on my first playthrough that I can show you a couple of quick ways to get through the sections without taking too much damage. But I'm going back to talking about the bullshit of Shadows of the Damned. So, if I said that this game was buggy, I would be understating it massively. This is one of the buggiest non-broken games I've ever played. And what I mean by non-broken is the bugs don't break the game, they just make the game frustrating. And I've actually got a bunch of little clips that I'm tempted to upload, but at the same time, they seem like wasted videos sometimes when I could put something of more substance up. But sometimes it's nice to have little quick clips, and that's why I'm doing them. Anybody that is in darkness generally spawns enemies. You want to be careful of that. They'll show you the mechanic, but it doesn't really rear its head too much in the game, so you should be okay. But anyhow, back to the bugs. There is a lot of times on this game where just bullshit happens. And it can be with bosses that'll do a move that misses you, and it misses you by a long shot, but then a second later it hits you because their hit detection is fucking dumb. There'll be times where you're aiming at a dude and you'll shoot him and he'll just not respond because the bullets aren't hitting him for some reason. There are times when you go to aim your gun and shoot and the gun will not shoot because for whatever reason it's just, sat there aiming and it doesn't take the command. There are also times where the camera will get in the way. The camera's not necessarily bad, but for instance if you're evading during a boss fight, the amount of times that I've rolled to the side and I've got a bit of geometry that's completely blocked my character and I've died is quite high, and it gets annoying. There are times when enemies will attack and the animation of their attack does not happen, but their attack still does. So you'll see a dude who's just stood there and then he'll teleport to being grabbing you and eating your face off. There are even boss attacks that are supposed to emit illumination that don't emit illumination, so you get completely sucker punched by them because you don't think they're doing an attack because they're not signposted in. And it happens a lot. There's even a couple sections where you're flying in those stupid 2D shooter sections where you can get stuck on the graphics and you can't move and the camera moves on without you and kills you. There's a lot of nuisances, and hopefully you'll be one of those dudes that doesn't see any of them and thinks the game is awesome and perfect the way it is. But I stumbled into a lot of them and I only played the game twice. So just be aware, if you're gonna get, your shit pushed in, chances are it's gonna happen when you play this game. But as soon as you get up here, if you go up to the hand and you press X, you'll rip it a little bit and it'll piss off and do whatever it wants to do, and then you can progress onwards through this gate and into our first encounter with that guy. And anybody that's been with my channel a while will know that I generally give bosses silly names or characters silly names because I can't be asked to say their proper names, and it generally adds a little bit of humour. Well, one of the names I often go to is George because it just seems to be a funny name to me. It's one of those names that you'd feel unfortunate if you were named it, but it is a popular name and it just seems kind of old-fashioned. So to me, George is a pretty funny name, and I don't mean offence by it. It's just one of those things where it's like Barry. Barry is a funny name. Even if you're a Barry, you've got to admit it's a pretty fucking funny name. So I would call this guy George, but it's actually his name. So I can't even make up a silly name because he's already got one. But that will be in the next video, folks, where we will be taking on the boss. And this is the first of the 20-minute epic bullshit boss battles. So good luck with that. I'll see you in that video, and you take care now.